லைட்டை போடலாமா கொஞ்சம்? இந்த கதவை சாத்தலாமா கொஞ்சம்? லைட்டை போட்டு கதவை சாத்தலாமா?
லைட் போடணுமா? நான் போடணுமா?
போடணும் கொஞ்சம் போடுங்க.
எந்த லைட்டு?
Sir, welcome, sir. Mr. SCN.
Hi, how are you?
Sir, good evening. Sekar-CRSI, sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Mugesh, now I will, the sharing part, I will take it, Mugesh. Mugesh?
Good evening.
Sir, we are very happy, sir, to see you here. We have it with us.
Happy to see all of you.
Mugesh, shall we start, Mugesh? So,
yeah, you can start. Second.
Dr. Ayyappan, we have crossed 100, so we can accommodate up to 1,000 participants. It's not a problem.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
like
sir. Okay,
YouTube live streaming also going on. So, parallel is going on. So, we have no, it's past 100, so we can.
All right, sir.
Very good afternoon to all. I am Professor Sekar from Department of Chemistry, IIT Madras, and convener, CRSI Chennai local chapter. CRSI is celebrating November 1st week as Chemistry Week, and this lecture by Professor Mugesh is jointly organized by CRSI Chennai local chapter and Madras Christian College as part of CRSI Chemistry Week celebration. With this basic information, I invite Dr. Vincent, Principal, Madras Christian College, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege for me to be here addressing this gathering. So, sir, Dr. Chandrasekar is here, Dr. Mugesh, Dr. Sekar, Murthy, and I also see Dr. Ramesh Gardas and Dr. Rangarao. So I welcome all of you because I'm from IIT Madras, my own faculty members I could see. So I welcome all of you virtually. And it's the welcome address. So I thought I'll just take 3 minutes and just take you through a virtual tour about Department of Chemistry so that we can make it meaningful. So this is a small presentation that I would like to present before you. Department of Chemistry, I remember attending this DST FIST project proposal presentation before Dr. Chandrasekar in the year 2004. And it has been recognized as a DST FIST department. And we have BSc, MSc, MPhil, and PhD. And this is a milestone that I'm just presenting for you. Many of you might know that the college has celebrated its 100 years of existence in the last year by conducting a national level conference, and one of our alumni, Dr. Shivaram and Dr. Ramanan, served as resource persons in the national level conference. And these are some of the things that happened over the period. And now we have got our own computation laboratory where we teach mathematics, and we also have some computational chemistry research going on in our laboratory. And some of the highlights of the department, as I said, we are also recognized by DPT Star College program. And we also have an active service learning program under the United Board for Christian Higher Education from USA, where we try to visit the Wayanadu village and tribal village, where we teach science. It's called Science Communication Service and Service Learning Camp. And over the 5 years, we have developed, from 2012, we have generated around 100 lakhs, maybe around 1 crore, and we are also expecting to generate more fund through research activities. These are the areas in which the research is going on. We publish papers in the reputed journals. And we have refurbished laboratory under the benevolence of Mrs. Indra Nui, who is the former CEO of PepsiCo. And we have some skill-based curriculum design also is in practice now. Glass blowing is one other area. And one of our students visited Nanyang Technology University for international internship. She is the Inspire Fellow from our department. As I mentioned, we have a computation and installation laboratory. And we can see some of the students getting through JAM examination. They are either in IIT Palakkad or in ICER. And maybe every year, 1 or 2 students will get through. And we also have a sponsored PhD internship by Indian National Science Academy. And I can show you some of the data about how students get, they participate in different internships of our program. So we also help students plan their career when they join for the first year. And I just go fast because the lack of time. Some of the professors, we have a curriculum where we also teach certain courses like in philosophy and history of science, which we added nowadays. And these are the list of students who every year who participate in different internships. Around 5 to 7 students every year they participate in the paid internship from the Department of Chemistry. And these are some of the photographs from our student taking part in NTU. And I just show you a few photographs and call it a day because I don't want to take up the time of the speaker. And one more thing that I would like to mention here is we began our journey for continuous assessment. We call in IIT it's periodicals, and the form of learning by doing or project-based learning. And we find a lot of outcome or takeaways, tangible outcomes as a part of it. And we see a lot of publications in Journal of Chemical Education is getting to start now. Many students, they publish on their own. And even we don't help them. It's a student autonomy that we have. And some of the eminent scientists who visited our department in the past years, given the list of that. And these are the research areas, as I showed you in one of the previous slides that we are working on. And I have got some graphical representation of publications. And in an average, we publish around 12 papers per annum for the college of this order. Maybe it's an arts and science college where our workload is around 16 hours per week. And this is what we can expect. And I'm hopeful that we will publish more in the coming years. Book publications, some of the editorial writings also. And we have had Dr. Chandrasekhar as a part of our chemistry current focus, supported by INSA in the year 2016, I think. And Dr. Nadarajan was part of it, Dr. Mangaleshwar and Dr. Subramaniam, and many other alumni, they were part of our events. And some of the photographs I'm taking you through, we had also green chemistry matrices workshop conducted on 9th February. And we also have some in-service training sponsored by the Tamil Nadu State Council of Science for Science and Technology, where we have school teachers being trained. And some of the infrastructures I'm just showing you because, as I mentioned, Mrs. Indra Noyu, she completed her BSc here in 1974. She donated a significant fund to the Department of Chemistry for refurbishing the existing laboratory. And we got other instruments also, as usual, normally present in any other liberal arts and science colleges. The new addition to our department is a computation facility, and we've got a project from DST young scientists where 35 lakhs have been awarded to Mugesh. And some of the facilities that I'm showing you here, just an introduction of the department. Instead of giving a presidential address, I thought I'd just show you I just gleaned through department credentials to all of you. Alumni, they periodically visit us. And some of the graphical representation of the department achievements in the past. So we have endowment lectures regularly conducted. The students themselves conduct a conference. It's a new culture. And we have intercollegiate programs and sports and other events where students who attend international webinars and international internships, they come back and share their experience with other students so that they can also take part in the internships. And we go quickly to the last slide. This is what a course that I talked about, Chem Informatics. 2 batches we have completed. It's an add-on program for the students who do BSc Chemistry during 3rd year. They'll take up this course for drug designing. And some of the service learning camps that we conduct here, we go to a place called Wayanadu, where we do a science communication. So we've got a project from United Board for Christian Herification. So through the support, we are trying to do this particular project. And this is what I call as continuous assessment, which is conducted in our department in a different way, where project-based learning becomes a basis for continuous assessment, and students express chemistry and the concepts in their own way. Chemical colloquium is another culture that we have among faculty members, sharing and equipping each other. And we also have our teacher also serve as a reviewers in the reputed journals. So some of the glimpses of the evidence that I've shown. And we have a support from our alumni, and some of the alumni whom we know, Professor George passed away maybe a year back. And the other alumni I've just shown you here, Dr. KV from IIT Madras and Dr. Elias from IIT Delhi, Dr. Ramanan, they're all from our own department. Dr. Swaminathan Sivaram is also an alumnus of Madras Christian College. And this is about the laboratory. With this, I would like to call it a day. Thank you. I welcome all the members who really take pleasure and taking part in this particular program. And I'm a part of CRSI, and I'm also engaging my own faculty members to be a part of the CRSI. And I'm sure in the coming days, we'll have more programs being conducted on behalf of CRSI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Thanks for giving the welcome address and giving useful information about the Department of Chemistry, MCC. And definitely in future, we will come back to have more programs. And I now invite Dr. Ayyappan, head of the department, Chemistry Department, MCC, to inform the audience about CRSI and its activity.
Thank you, sir. This is some of the information that I'm going to share with the audience. The Chemical Research Society of India, CRSI, was established in the year 1999 as a part of 50th anniversary celebration of India's independence. Bharat Ratna Professor C.N.R. Rao was the founder president, and Padma Shri Professor V.K. Singh, IIT Kanpur, is the current president of CRSI. The main objectives of the CRSI are to recognize, promote, and foster talent in chemistry, and improve the quality of chemical education at all levels. The CRSI organizes conferences, seminars, workshops, symposia, and other related programs on chemistry research. CRSI celebrates the first week of November as a chemistry week, and in view of this, CRSI Chennai local chapter and the Department of Chemistry MCC jointly organize this popular lecture on metals in biology and medicine. Thank you so much.
Dr. Segar, you're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Ayyappan, for informing us about CRSI's activity. On behalf of CRSI Chennai local chapter, once again I welcome Professor SCN. So really, we are very honored to have it here. And also I welcome Professor Velmadi, Ramesh, Mail Murugan, and all other faculty members. And with this, we should not take too much time. First, briefly, I will introduce about the speaker, then we will go to the speaker. Actually, Professor Mugesh is a very well-known young chemist of our country. Actually, there's no need for him to give any separate introduction, but for students' sake of just very briefly giving the introduction about Professor Mugesh. Professor Mugesh is a faculty member from IEC department, ISC Bangalore, and also presently is the Dean Chemical Sciences of ISC Bangalore. He is known for his studies on the mechanism of thyroid hormones action. His research involves organic and inorganic synthesis, enzyme mimetic studies, and multidisciplinary approaches in the area of biomedical research. Presently, Professor Mugesh is the Vice President of CRSI, and he was the General Secretary for the last 9 years. Professor Mugesh got from his PhD from IIT Bombay, and he was a Humboldt Fellowship at Technical University Braunschweig, Germany. And he has carried out his second postdoctoral fellowship with Professor K.C. Niccolo at Scripps Research Institute, USA. In 2002, December, he joined ISC Bangalore as assistant professor, where now he is a full professor and dean for the chemical sciences. If I go through honors and awards of Professor Mugesh, you will not have enough time to give that talk. So whenever people introduce Mugesh, they tell him that in name any award, Professor Mugesh got it. But I will say that Professor Mugesh got all the awards, recognitions, and also at very early stage, at very young stage. That's what I will tell you. And just few awards I will mention here, which are very important thing. In 2019, he got Infosys Prize for Physical Sciences. This is a very prestigious award. Very few people got this award. In 2018, he received CRSI Silver Medal. In 2017, he received National Prize for Research on Interfaces of Chemistry and Biology. 2016, he became Fellow of Indian National Science Academy. 2015, he got the J.C. Bose National Fellowship. 2012, Santeshwar Bhatnagar Prize. 2012, AstraZeneca Excellence in Chemistry Award. This is a global award awarded by AstraZeneca. 2008, he received Swana Jayanti Fellowship. He is a member of several editorial boards and he is a member of several important committees in the national level. In 2018, Anglo-Indian published Professor Mugesh author profile. When we publish more than 10 Anglo-Indian, this happens. Very rarely it happens for our Indian scientists. And in 15th Asian Chemical Congress held in Singapore, he was awarded Asian Rising Star. Again, he is the only Indian in that particular year. Professor Mugesh is a very active researcher. He has published more than 155 papers. He has graduated more than 20 PhD students, and presently around 50 PhD students are doing research under his guidance. And this point is mainly for the student. Professor Mugesh is coming from a very humble farmer family from a very small village near Athur, Salem district. Due to his dedication, hard work, extraordinary research output, now is the most well-known young scientist of our country. He is not only the inspiration for the student, also is the inspiration for several faculty members as well. We are extremely happy to have Professor Mugesh here as the first speaker of this Chemistry Week celebration. And personally, I thank Professor Mugesh for accepting our invitation to deliver this lecture. Professor Mugesh, can start the lecture.
Yeah. Thank you, Sekar, for the introduction. And I'm happy to give this talk. I would like to thank the CRSI Chennai local chapter, Dr. Sekar, who is a convener of the CRSI Chennai local chapter, Dr. Mohana Krishnan, Dr. Iswara Murthy from CSIR CLRI. And I thank MCC principal, particularly Dr. P. Wilson and Dr. Ayyappan for arranging this talk. And I'm glad that Professor S. Chandrasekharan is attending this, and he was a former president of CRSI. And I was Secretary General that time, initiated a lot of activities nationally and internationally. And I'm happy that this year, particularly the local chapters are very active. And I think almost all local chapters are organizing the National Chemistry Week conferences. And unfortunately, I could not accept invitation from many of the local chapters, but the CRSI Chennai local chapter, when Sekar called, I said, okay, I'll find time and then give this talk. So I thank you all for inviting me and arranging this talk. I would have preferred to come in person and deliver a talk, but given the situation, so I'll present the talk about the role of metal ions. Can I share the slides, Sekar?
Yeah, Mugesh, you can, sir.
Is it okay?
Yes, Mugesh, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So in today's talk, I will be talking to you on metals in biology and medicine. So what I will do, I'm not going to talk about any of the recent research that is going on in our lab. So I picked up this topic for a particular reason. We all know about, the last year was celebrated as International Year of Periodic Table. And this is, one of the updated periodic tables. So in this talk, I'm going to pick up few elements, and many of them are metals. And I'm going to describe the role in biology and medicine. And I thought this will be useful for the students to understand, how these elements play important role in the life processes. So often we ask a question when we take human body. One asked question, is life organic? You look at the Earth's crust, oxygen constitutes about 46.4% of the atoms. Silicon is the second one, and other metals, aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium. But if you look at the human body, maximum oxygen, and then next is the carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. If you look at the carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and the sulfur, it constitutes more than 98% of the human body. So for example, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, proteins, hormones, and vitamins. So this tells us that life is organic. But if you look at the metal in seawater, compare that with human plasma. If you look at the iron, which in seawater is 0.005, and in plasma it is 2230. So 400,000 excess is found in human plasma compared to seawater. And other metals also, you can see, they are much more abundant in human plasma. So this indicates that metal ions play important roles. So I'm going to talk about, the 2% of the metal which are present, element which are present, because if I start talking about oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, phosphorus, it's a huge amount of literature, huge amount of data. They make almost all the molecules in biological system in human body. But when it comes to metal, many times what people say, metals are toxic. So I use this slide to teach my students the course. All things can be poisons. It depends on dosage, individual health, and way of administration. The human diseases related to metals, some of them are very familiar to you. Osteoporosis, a calcium deficiency can lead to disease. Anemia, iron, cobalt, copper deficiency or molybdenum excess, lung diseases, psychiatric disorders, heart failure, convulsion, Wilson disease, Menkes syndrome. So all these are associated with metal ions, either deficit or excess. So therefore, all things can be poison. What is the concentration we are looking at it? So this brings to the next slide. We'll talk about the elements of life and how many elements are actually important for human being, right? How many elements are important for life, sustaining the life. So you look at the one highlighted in green colors: hydrogen, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and a carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. So these are called bulk biological elements. So that means they're everywhere. One cannot have a biomolecule without these elements like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. So I will not be talking about that today. You look at the one highlighted in red color, most of them are first row transition metals, one in the second row transition metal, and three main group elements: fluorine, selenium, and iodine. These are called essential elements for bacteria, plants, and animals. Then there are five elements: arsenic, bromine, strontium, barium, and tungsten. These elements possibly essential, and we do not know clearly what the role they play, but possibly essential. So we can say 28 elements, we can call them the elements of life. And when we come to essential trace elements, so we leave the bulk elements and we consider only the amount, the elements which are present in small quantities. You take iron. Iron we know exists in various oxidation state, +2, +3, and +4. 4 gram is present in males and 3.5 grams in female. And about 70% of iron is used in the red blood cells. If you take zinc, exists in only one oxidation state, zinc 2 plus. 2 to 3 grams of zinc is present in human body. 300 zinc containing enzymes are known. Over 1000 transcription factors require zinc. Look at copper, +1 and +2. It's present in only 120 milligram. And this is required for proper functioning of organs, metabolic processes. And the manganese, the maintained redox balance, it's present in only 20 milligrams, but it's required in mitochondrial function. So the energy, the powerhouse of human cells, the mitochondria, requires manganese. Selenium plays key role in thyroid hormone function as antioxidants. Iodine, only 10 milligrams, but without iodine, the thyroid gland cannot function. So there is no thyroid hormone action. Vanadium, cobalt. And cobalt, you look at the amount of cobalt present in human body, it's only 1 milligram, 85% of which is in the form of vitamin B12. And we know vitamin B12 deficiency is a serious issue now and affecting the brain function and so on. So what I will do in this lecture, I am going to pick up these few elements and tell you the role of this and what happens in the case of excess and what happens in the case of deficiency. So I will start with the life chemistry, which is oxygen chemistry. We know about plants producing food, starch, using photosynthesis. We know carbon dioxide is converted to carbohydrates by using sunlight, and we know about the two steps involved in the reactions: dark sunlight, which is the light reaction; dark reaction, which is the Calvin cycle. So when we look at this oxygen, which is generated by the plants, and it's not the purpose of plants to produce oxygen. It's not that plants should produce oxygen for human being. It's the oxygen which is produced as a byproduct during the photosynthesis. But what this oxygen can do in human body? When we talk about iron oxygen chemistry, okay, I ask the students a very simple question. We put the iron rod or chain like this outside, environment. So it is initially like this, and after a few days it becomes like this. What happens is that iron combined with water and oxygen, it becomes rust, right? It's a rusting. So human body has about 3 to 4 grams of iron. only 1 milligram is lost per day, but we do not see any rusting, right? We don't see any rusting inside. So there is a water, our body is full of water, and a lot of oxygen we breathe, and all oxygen goes to different cells. And we have 3 to 4 grams or 5 grams of iron, but there is no rusting, right? How the biological system controls the metal ion, okay, to prevent the rusting. And when the rusting takes place, we call it as a disease. And neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson disease, and these are simply rusting in brain. And the metal ion get rusted, it generates radicals, and it damages biomolecules, it oxidizes lipids, and then cells undergo death. And how the iron in biology is tightly regulated, and that this is the reason why iron in biology is tightly regulated, because it must be tightly regulated, otherwise it lead to all these problems. Now I come to very, very fundamental reaction that happens in human body. So we breathe oxygen, so 95% of the oxygen is used in the respiration. So what happens to this oxygen in mitochondria? So this oxygen is converted to water, right? So that's what happens in the process. Oxygen is converted to water. When oxygen takes up one electron, it produces superoxide. So it's a 1 electron reduction of molecular oxygen. It generates superoxide. You add one more electron, you generate hydrogen peroxide. Third electron generates hydroxyl radical and water. Fourth electron converts that to water. So we need 4 electrons to convert a molecular oxygen completely to water. But this does not happen always in human body, because we do need other reactive oxygen species or partially reduced oxygen species. They are called ROS or PROS. Superoxide, hydrogen peroxide, these two are very important for biological functions. But hydrogen peroxide, hydroxyl radical is very reactive with damaged DNA, protein molecules. So therefore, this has to be immediately converted to water by using the next electrons. So the chemistry of metal ions, it starts from the blood, the chemistry of different of the blood. And we all know the blood is red for human, right? But there are other colors, and human, majority of other vertebrates, they have blood in red color. And because these have hemoglobin, which is the oxygen binding protein in human. But if you look at the spider or some octopus, and their blood is blue, because they use hemocyanin instead of hemoglobin for oxygen transport, and which is a copper protein. When the oxygen is bound to copper, it becomes blue. And there are also species which have blood in green color.